This is Regional Vice President Jeff Ducharme. I just want to go through some information with you today on a training video. My cell phone number is 603-918-1262, and my email address is pfsinn@yahoo.com. So if you need to follow up with me or you have any questions, definitely hit me in one of those spots, and we'll go through things. So what I want to talk to you about today is getting started, specifically talking to you a little bit more about your initial prospecting list, what we're going to do, and also your how you contact people. So the initial thing you want to do when you get started is you'll get some kind of a sheet like this. It's a top 50 list. So you have a top 50 list of warm market, and you should have at least 50 people. You may even want to have 100 people on a list or more. And so what you're going to be thinking about is, with your top 50 list, is you've got just everybody you know. But your market's going to fall into hot market, warm market, acquaintances, and then cold market. Okay, so we've got methods on all four of these things. What we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on these three for today, but it all comes from your top 50 list. So your top 50 list, we're going to go through a memory jogger here in a minute, but you also want to use your smartphone or your cell phone contacts, any phone book that you may have at home, like a little book with a bunch of phone numbers in it, so for people that aren't in your cell phone list. And then also any social media stuff, Facebook, or any of that type of stuff. So you just want to have that. If you're married, you want to go through and remember who went to your wedding. If you're in church, any church listings, church bulletin groups, church directories. If you're at work, if they have any directories, any kind of directories, stuff like that, you want to have all those ready to go as well. But the key thing is to just get down as many names and phone numbers as you can onto a list, not really thinking about right now whether they're you would want to talk to them as a client or as a recruit, or if you think either one of those is really possible. It doesn't really matter at this point. What you're really wanting to do is thinking about things as a business person. One of the things that's happening as you're getting started in Primerica is you are getting into business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you have to think like a business owner, and a business owner conducts themselves in a certain way, and a business owner conducts themselves different than a person that works a job. Someone that works a job, what they do is they go to work and they process work that's given to them, and they just show up and they have a certain duty or task, and they're given a bunch of things to do, and they just work at those tasks, and they work on getting those done. But when you're a business owner, you have to be a work creator, not a job work processor. So when you're a work creator, it's really up to you. You're your own marketing, you're your own advertising, you're your own everything, really. So if it's going to be, it's up to you, right? So what you want to do as a business owner is you want to be focused on getting your name out as to what you're doing. Now, we're going to talk in a little while about how to approach people with Primerica, how to talk to them about our business and what we're doing, and how to get appointments with people. And we're going to say, that we're not going to give a lot of information out while we're in the process of making the initial contact to get to meet with them. But once we meet with them, we're going to show them what we do, and we're going to advertise your business. We're going to promote it. And you don't really care, well, I shouldn't say you really don't care, but if they become a client or not, or if they become a recruit or not, isn't going to make you or break you if you have a list of 100 people or 50 people. You don't need all of them to become clients. You don't need all of them to become recruits. You just need some of them. And there's going to be some people on the list that are not going to become a client, and they're not going to become a recruit, and that's okay. but you still want them to know that you're in business and this is what you do. Just like if you were opening your own restaurant and you were having a grand opening, you would invite everybody that you wanted to come. The reason why you'd want to have everybody come is to let them know what your food is, what you're doing, what your menu is, and whatever. Now, they may not be into your kind of food, but that's all right. They know other people, and they can say, hey, you can go down to this restaurant. It's a nice little place, and go give them your business. So you always want people to know what it is that you're doing. And so when you look at your top 50 list, you're not trying to think of, well, this is someone that would be interested in Primerica, or this is someone that's not. It doesn't really matter. You just want names and numbers on a list. So one of the things you want to do is you want to do a memory jogger, and you want to create a list of people that you know. So again, go through your phone and your contacts in there, and then go through your Facebook and your wedding and your directories and everything that you know, and you want to think of everybody you can possibly think of. You want to get them down on this this kind of a sheet or something similar. And what we want to know is we want to know what you're going to want to have for information right at the tip of your fingers all the time. Is you're going to want to know their name or names. So if it's Bill and Mary Smith, you want that. You want to know where the city or town they live in. If it's in a different state, obviously, then just put that down to the abbreviation for the state. You want their telephone number contact. Usually in today's world, that's a cell phone. And we also want to know how you know them. So what's your relationship? So, you know, if Bill and Mary's your sister, and Bill is your brother-in-law, that's what you would say, you know, sister is Mary, you know. And then what you would do is we have these designations. So they go M, H, J, K. Those are the basic ones. So M stands for, are they married? H, do they own a home? J, do they have a job? K, do they have any kids? So if they have all of those things, if they're married, they own a home, they got a job, and they got kids, we would do that. If the next person down is Fred Jones, right? And Fred is your best friend. So you say best friend, and he's single, but he owns a home, he has a job, but he doesn't have kids. That's what you would do, is you put it down like that. And so let's say that Fred lives in Hampton, and Bill and Mary Smith live in Portsmouth. So we got Bill and Mary Smith, and you put their phone numbers down here and so forth. So what you're doing is you're starting to construct a list and get things together. Now, a memory jogger can really be a helpful tool. And what we want to do with the memory jogger is we want to help you with that. So one of the things you should get emailed to you. If you haven't, you know, definitely contact me and let me know, and I will get you one. But you also want to have a memory jogger. So after you've gone through your phone and you've gone through your list, you also want to pull out anything like a high school yearbook, college yearbooks, anything like that. After you've gone through all of those types of things, then we also want to use a memory jogger. What a memory jogger will do is it'll say, you know, who do you know that's adopted children recently? Who do you know that has red hair? Who do you know that's in sales? Who do you know that's a doctor? Who do you know that's a dentist? Who do you know that's a chiropractor? Who do you know that sells cars? Who do you know that delivers for UPS or Federal Express? Who do you know that, whatever, all these different things. Who do you know that's in a multi-level marketing company? Who do you know that's in Mary Kay? Who do you know that's in Pampered Chef? Who do you know? And it's going to give you all these different things, and that's meant to jog even more people into your memory and onto your top 50 list. Now, once you get a top 50 list, you want to fax a copy of that to your regional vice president, and you should have their, or email it to them or whatever. You want to get a copy of that top 50 list to them, and you want to keep a copy of it for yourself. And you also, if you're being field trained by someone separate, you want to give the copy to them. Now you've got multiple copies of this thing out there, so that if something happens, that you lose your copy, or whatever, your copy gets compromised, then we've got another backup for that. And also it helps us to go through a list with you to help you figure out who you want to go see to get the best training. When you're in Primerica in the beginning, what you're trying to do is you're trying to learn and develop a skill. And that skill can literally pay you millions of dollars in your career, maybe even in a year, depending upon what you do with this business opportunity. So, like for my wife and I, we've been paid to date, we've been paid over $1.5 million in Primerica in our career. So, you know, when we signed up back in the day for our $99, you know, we were scared. We had no idea whether we could do this or not. And we were just putting money in and saying, well, we hope it's going to work. We really like the concepts. We were excited about it. But, you know, we had no idea that we would make some really good, legitimate money. I mean, we hoped we would, but we didn't know. So the thing of it is, you can take this opportunity and you can do tremendous things with it. But it's, you know, getting off to the right start. It's having the right mindset. Now, when I was in training in the beginning, I was taking my field trainer to see people that I knew, which is how it works, right? So we had my hut market, my warm market, and my acquaintance market. And so what I did is I set up my initial list. I gave a copy of that to my field trainer and my RVP. But my thinking at that time was, I'm here to learn a skill. And I didn't really care too much in the beginning with the first, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 appointments that I did. I really didn't care how much money I made. My goal was to learn. My goal was to learn the skill of how to get appointments, do appointments, you know, the whole thing, the presentation, the data collection, the commitments that you have to get, just how the whole system worked. So learning how to set appointments, learning how to do appointments, learning how to recruit people, learning how to bring people down to a meeting. That's what I was looking to learn how to do, because I figured if I learned all this stuff, now I have the skill and the ability to go take that and make a ton of money. Now look, this was back, you know, when I got started, the internet was in its infancy. You know, people weren't really on computers. People didn't have, believe it or not, back in the day, a few years, not too long ago, not everybody had a cell phone. Not everybody had internet. Not everybody had a personal computer. It was just a little bit of a different world. But at the same time, my goal was to, you know, learn the skills so I could go out and make some money with the people that I knew. Now, listen, I had a high school yearbook. I graduated with around 500 people in my high school class. I knew people that I used to work with at other jobs. I knew people that I worked with in jobs in the past. I knew people that were friends of my brothers and sisters. I had ex-girlfriends. They had ex-girlfriends and boyfriends and whatever. I mean, we had, I had uncles, cousins, aunts, grandparents. I mean, you name it. I mean, there was just a ton of people that I knew. And some of those were hot markets, some were warm markets, some were acquaintance markets. So what I had to do is I had to understand what the different types of people I knew, what category they fit in, and I also had to know how to approach them. Now listen, I'm urging you to have the same type of mindset. Whoever's training you, whether it's me or someone else, you know, your goal in the beginning should be to learn. Now, do you want to make some money? Absolutely. Would you like to make some extra money? Fantastic. But your goal, I think, if you have the right mindset, is to just, you know, really learn this stuff. It's like teaching you how to fish. Once you learn how to fish, now you can go fishing as much as you want. You can catch as many fish as you want. And that should be your primary focus. So, listen, your hot market is going to be your closest family and friends. These would be people that you interact with all of the time. You know, some people you're going to interact with every day or at least a couple times a week. I mean, this is your hot market. They're the easiest to get appointments with, and you'll have some good results there. Warm market is other friends and family that, again, you know them well, they know you, you've got a good connection, but you know they're not your closest friends and family. You're in touch with them, but you don't see them as often. And then your acquaintance market is everyone else that you know that knows you. So if you went to high school with somebody and you haven't talked to them in 15 years, but if you called them up and said, hi, this is Jeff Ducharme, you remember me, we went to high school together, if they can remember who you are, then that is an acquaintance. So we're going to talk about how to approach these 3 different things, what to say to get an appointment with them, and how to do it. Now, we're going to start with Hot Market. Listen, the other thing we're going to go over really quickly is, you know, information is going to not help you. And everybody, you know, we all have our times where we resist this and we'll mess up and we'll give too much information. It happens to everybody. It happens to me. It happens to everybody else. And I'm just telling you, you're going to learn one way or the other. So you're probably going to learn the hard way that when you contact people, if you start giving information, that is going to wipe out most of your efforts. So, what do I mean by that? Well, we're not trying to hide anything, and once we sit down with somebody and we actually do an appointment or we do an interview or whatever, we're more than happy to share with them who we are, what we do, how we do it, how you get paid, how we make our money, how we going to help them, answer any and all of their questions and all that stuff. So it's not about not giving them information, it's about when you're trying to set an appointment with somebody, you've only got a limited amount of time on the phone or face-to-face or through Facebook or texting or whatever. And so if you're trying to give them any information, you're only going to be able to give them a small amount of information, and then what ends up happening is the person that's on the receiving end of that information is starting to jump to different conclusions, and you're going to find that, you know, probably 95% of the time, the conclusions they're going to jump to is that they are going to say no to you getting an appointment with them. They're going to say they're not interested. They're going to say they're not all set. They're going to think you're trying to sell them something. They're going to think whatever. But it's not going to work out in your favor. So when you're talking to somebody, Hot Market is really easy. When I have my best friend, Dale, when I want to spend time with him with my trainer, here's what I said. I said, Dale, hey, this is Jeff, and he knew who it was anyway when I called because we talked every day. So I said, hey, what's going on? He said, not much. I said, listen, Thursday night you're usually home, right? Yeah, I'll be home. Okay, great. I'm coming by. I got someone I want you to meet, and he's going to share a little info with you. I want you to check it out, and you know, you can do with it what you want. And he said, all right. And I said, all right, I'll be over there around 6:30. So that was it. And that's how you set an appointment with Hot Market. Is you got to be yourself. You just got to say, look, you know, I got something I want to show you, and you know, you can make up your own mind, but whatever. Hot Market doesn't usually ask very many questions, which is the awesome thing about getting appointments in that area is that, you know, with me, I mean, you can call me selfish or whatever, but with my sister and my 2 brothers and my parents and so forth, they were going to hear about Primerica and they were going to look at what we did. And that's all there is to it because I decided that they were going to see the information. After they saw the information, they could do whatever they wanted. But I wanted them to at least see the information. And so that's Hot Market, is you just want to get the information to them and let them know what it is that you're going to be doing and so forth. Warm Market is a little bit different. You're going to have to probably get some questions back. You know, that's what happens here. In the Hot Market, you usually don't get a lot of questions. In the Warm Market, the questions start to come. And so this is where the information thing gets to be a little bit more critical, because if you call up your cousin or whatever and you say, hey cuz, this is Jeff, I'm getting started in a business part-time, I'm looking to get some good training, I've got a guy that's helping me out, he's training me, I'd like to come over and sit down with you and your husband and go through some information. We're going to be in your area next week on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Which one works better for you? Well, most of the time they're going to come back with what is it, or what kind of business, or what's it all about, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Say, well, listen, you know, what we do is the company is doing something that's called asset management. And do you know much about asset management? It doesn't matter what they say. If they say yes or no, you still say, well, that's great. So that's what it's all about. I'd like to come see you on either Tuesday night or Wednesday night. Which one would be good for you? Now, what will happen sometimes is people slip up and they start giving the information things. They say, well, you know, we do financial stuff and we help people with financial stuff. And that opens up more questions to come your way. And when you're brand new, you're not prepared nor confident enough to answer those information questions in a way to get you the appointment. So what ends up happening most of the time is it messes up. Now, the other thing that happens when you're getting into this appointment setting thing, so again, how I answered the what is it is, I said it's asset management. Do you know much about asset management? So I answered their question with a it's asset management, but then I immediately transferred into a question, do you know much about it? And it doesn't really matter what they say to that. If they say no, what's asset management? Well, that's what we're coming over to explain to you. And if they say, well, yeah, I know a lot about it, I say, well, good, then you already know a little bit about it. I'm going to come over and show you how we approach that. So you're diffusing the information question answers, and then you want to immediately move right back into the alternative choice. So alternative choice is a way whenever you're asking someone something, you always give them two choices. So you should already have in your mind, these are the two time periods I'm working this week. It's Tuesday night and Wednesday night. And I'm working with my trainer those evenings. So then you just transfer them right back to which one works better for you guys, Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, here's the other thing you're going to run into sometimes, and I want you to know how to handle that. And that is, you're talking to, like I just said, I was talking to my cousin, and I'm saying, well, I want to sit down with you and your husband and go through that. Now, what happens a lot is they give the, well, sounds okay, let me check with my husband and I'll get back to you. Well, you're going to learn real quick that they won't ever get back to you on that. Well, I shouldn't say ever, but rarely get back to you. So you're kind of left hanging and you didn't set an appointment, so it's not a good thing. So what I recommend that you do in that circumstance is, let's say I was talking to my cousin, let's say my cousin Bridget, right? So I'm talking to my cousin Bridget, and her husband's name is Steve. So I say, hey Bridget, this is Jeff. Listen, I'm getting started with business part-time to make some extra money. Get some awesome information I think you'd like. I'd like to come over and sit down with you and Steve sometime this week, show you what it is we're doing. We're going to be in your area on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Which one works best for you? You know, she asked, what is it? I answer the asset management thing, blah, blah, blah. Now I say, I'm going to be in the area on Tuesday or Wednesday, which works better for you? She says, well, I don't know. It sounds pretty good. Let me check with Steve. So here's what I would tell you to do in that case. I say, well, listen, Bridget, here's what's happening. I'm trying to set my schedule up for this week. And what night, which one of those nights are you and Steve typically home all the time? Tuesday or Wednesday? Well, usually Wednesday works better for you. So, well, great. Let's set up a time for Wednesday, and then I'll leave you my cell phone number. Check with Steve a little bit later on when you see him, and then if it's not going to work, call me back right away, and we can figure out what other time will work. So on Wednesday, I've got an appointment at 6 p.m. or 7:30. Again, alternative choice. Which one works better for you? She said, well, 6 p.m. around 6 o'clock would work better. All right, great. We'll be there around 6 o'clock. I'm going to put you guys down in the calendar for 6 o'clock. Don't forget to check with Steve. If it's not going to work, call me back right away so we can figure out what other time would work. So that's how I do it. Now, if they said, I'm not available this week, then what I'm going to do is just say, well, next week I'm going to be doing appointments on Tuesday night and Saturday afternoon. Which one of those work better for you? So again, you should already know when you're going to be working the following week as well, so that if they say, well, this week's a bad week, we're on vacation, we're out of town, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Steve's out of town for work. You know, it doesn't matter what excuse they give you. You already know next week, this is what I'm doing. Now, I always tell people this. Look, set appointments. Don't worry about your trainer's schedule. Don't worry about your regional vice president's schedule. Don't worry about anybody's schedule. just set the appointments. If you set appointments, someone will go on them with you to train. It'll either be your field trainer if they're available. If they're not, we'll find someone else. It'll be the regional vice president or the regional vice president's RVP partner. Somebody will go with you and we'll get this appointment done. So your job is to set an appointment. Now, the last thing I'm going to go through is, so we talked about hot market, we talked about warm market, is acquaintance market. Now acquaintance market, again, is anybody that you know. So when you have your acquaintance market, what you want to focus on is that they know you, and I think what happens with most people is they feel awkward approaching this acquaintance market because they're people that you haven't been in touch with for a long time, and you know, all of a sudden now you're calling them and you're asking them for an appointment, and you feel kind of awkward because you're just like, well, you know, I haven't even talked to these people in forever, and now all of a sudden I'm calling them for an appointment. Well, it's okay. Try not to feel that way because, again, if you were opening your own restaurant or whatever, you would just want people to know, hey, listen, we got a, you know, an awesome little Italian restaurant we just opened. You know, we're just letting people know we're open, we're doing our business. You know, we'd like to invite you to come on down and check out our food, check out our place. And so that's all you're doing is just calling people and you're just giving them an opportunity. So try not to be too awkward. It's just what business owners have to do is, you know, sometimes you got to do things that are a little bit uncomfortable. But for me personally, when I was getting started in Primerica, my best success came in this acquaintance market. So it'll be different for everybody. Yours may be different, but for me this worked really well. And how it came about is I was doing okay in Primerica in the beginning and so forth, but you know, I had a lot of people that I knew, but I just didn't know how to approach them. And so one night I sat down with a legal pad, and I literally made 3 columns and just started writing names of people that I knew, and I flipped it over and did the same thing. And I had well over 100 names on the sheet. Some of these people I hadn't talked to since high school. Some of them I played softball with or basketball with, you know, 5, 6, 7 years earlier. So it was just you know, I had to think about how I would approach them. Now, what I came up with is the will you do me a favor approach, which works fantastic. So what I would do, I remember clearly the first people I called on this was a guy I knew named Al. I played softball with Al, and his wife's name was Diane. They had a couple kids. They lived in Lewiston, Maine, and Al worked at Holland Knight Plumbing Supply, which I don't even know if they're in business anymore. This was quite a while ago. So what I did is I looked up their phone number, I called Al, I got him on the phone, and I said, listen Al, this is Jeff Ducharme, do you remember me? We used to play softball together on XYZ team. He's like, oh yeah, how you doing? I'm doing great. I said, listen, how the kids doing? You know, they're doing pretty good. You know, I said, oh, they must be getting big. Yeah, they're teenagers now, you know, so forth. Hey, listen, are you still working at Holland Knight? Yep, I'm still over there. Things going pretty good. Oh, great. How's Diane doing? She's doing awesome. Listen, the reason why I called is, so all that little catch-up conversation probably took a minute, maybe 2 minutes maximum. That's as much time as you want to put into it. And then I would say this. I'd say, listen, Al, the reason why I was calling was I was wondering if you would do me a favor. Now, nobody ever says no to that question. You're going to get yes some of the time, very small percentage, maybe 5% of the time. And about 95% of the time, people are going to say, what is it? Or what do you need? Or whatever. Whatever way they ask that same question. So what is it? I said, well, listen. As you may recall, I've been working in Heritage Lighting for a long time. And things are going okay over there. But, you know, I don't really see a long-term career there. So I just got started part-time working on in another business. And I'm up for a promotion. You know, in Primerica, you're always up for a promotion until you get to Senior National Sales Director. So you're not lying to them. You are up for a promotion. I'd say, listen, I'm up for a promotion, and I'm getting credit towards that promotion just by sitting down with people and showing them what it is our business does. And so I'm going to be in your area this week, in case you haven't realized from me talking. I'm always going to be in their area. I don't care if they lived in New Brunswick, Canada. You know, I'm going to be in their area next week. I'm always going to be in their area. Makes it sound like you're already there anyway. Why not get together? So I'm up for promotion. I'm going to be in your area this week. I'd like to sit down with you. I'm going to be in your area on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Can you help me out? So can you do me that favor and sit down and help me out and get my promotion? So you come right back to, again, the closes. Would you do me the favor of sitting down with me to help me with my promotion? Almost all people are going to say yes to that. And then again, you just set the appointment. How do you set the appointment? I'm going to be in your area, alternate of choice, Tuesday night or Wednesday night. Which one works better for you? And then once you get a night, well, which works better for you, 6 o'clock or 7:30? And you're off to the races. So that's how you do the acquaintance script. So again, recap real quick. Get your top 50 list together. Go through your phone, your Facebook, your yearbooks, your directories, whatever. But just get that list filled out and get at least 50 names. And if I was you, I'd really shoot for 100 names that you've got in your bank of people that you can potentially talk to. Then get a copy of that list to your field trainer and get a copy of it to your regional vice president. You want to get those in their hand ASAP. What they're going to do is go down through that list with you, and they're going to help qualify it. What we mean by qualifying the list is we're going to try and help you figure out which ones of these people do you want to contact first to get the best results for your training. Because again, your main focus in the beginning is learning. So if you learn the skill, then once you get your licensing in order and all that other stuff, you'll be able to hit the ground running and go out and make a lot of money, recruit a lot of people, build a team, help them make money, and then everything gets to be really fun. So, appreciate your time today, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.